Hi, this is my reading of stuff. I'm getting sick right now, so I'm sorry. Okay. This is a little number called Sometimes as a ritual, I look at tagged photos from you from when you look happier than you are now. Sometimes I need to let go of myself, so I go to Facebook and look at tagged photos. They are usually ones with other people. They usually have you looking happy. Not a time I knew. I wasn't there for it. A lot of them have ex-boyfriends or something to do with that. I don't know. I just stare at them. I stare at them because it makes me feel uncomfortable and hurt. This helps me if I think something bad will happen to me. I tell myself I will be more detached and strong when it happens. I say I'll be ready when it happens. Whatever it is or whatever it was. I think of how you looked happier and how that you were probably happier than you are now. I try to imagine myself in the photographs and cannot. I won't do it. I reject it. I cannot stand it. So instead I shine a light, a big, bright lamping, shine a light on it, your life, that life, this life. I like that I can scroll through the photos by clicking them in great marathons. A lot of times you were happy with someone else. They were your extension, they played a role, and I can look at all of them so quickly. This is one from when I was in Alaska. Fuck social people and fuck social anxiety. Social anxiety, I know I will always have you to depend on. A poem written by my brother's snake. I want to eat the cats in this place, but they put me in a tank after they are done holding me. Why do we have to watch repeats of Prison Break? They just hold me in one place, and then when I'm out of the tank, I'm out of the tank. I'm just bored and tired. I can't even eat live mice. Sometimes on the TV I see snakes that are flying through the Amazon. They give me dead mice. I asked why, but I'm a snake, so I can't speak. What is a reptile convention? What is a reptile convention? What is a reptile convention? Someone got arrested for shoplifting at Petco. I don't want to eat the crickets that they have either. I'm not going to keep hearing about insurance claims. The way that a wire is different in Europe. I can't hear about retirement. I saw 2 ants today and one was dead. They were in my house. I fucking am dead. Where does it all go? Why are they talking about these things? I stare at the TV and think the TV is really fucked up. Staring at it doesn't drown it out. 401k. Do you have a 401k? Patrick, do you have a 401k? Do you have a 401k? We were talking about eating squirrels. We were talking about somebody's trip to Austria. It probably isn't that bad. I just don't know anything about insurance or mortgages. Sign here and here and here and here and here and here. Now just a signature and okay, wonderful. Now if you would please grab the dying flowers out of the sink and freshen them up with sunlight, then we can put them in your tomb with you. I'm glad we came to this agreement without even a little bit of trouble. Everyone will be so pleased with you now that you are dead. Here's a love poem. I want to take a knife and carve open the side of a mattress. Then we can slip in one at a time and both lay face up and concealed. These are a series of tweets from my Twitter account, at Josh Leetson. I sent Bove an email. Tell D-Stank I was going to send him one, but now in quasi-real time he can know my car is dead in Bangor. Had a dream last night involving buying books from a cargo-looking area. Remember grabbing a Don DeLillo book. Got called an asshole by an employee. Someone said, I'm a poet girl in a class yesterday. I just said, I don't know, I like to laugh very flatly to someone. In the bathroom, was drying my hands when the door swung open. Felt a jolt in me and backed up into wall, saying, holy fuck, to unresponsive elderly man. Girlfriend takes vicious glug of Moxie after being asleep and waking up very abruptly says, not bad. thought people committed suicide in their garage with a car by just sitting in the car and starving or dying of thirst, not carbon monoxide, LOL. I feel like relationships involving one person who is extremely into video games and one who isn't is sadism in its purest form. Here's a poem. Reckless. A guy or a kid I grew up with loved to be wild. He was a hog. He rolled in filth. It wasn't like it was bad. He made it look like gold. Cigarettes, sex, marijuana, booze, cars. Certainly a product of his environment, the sticks. What I mean is he lived in the woods. That did not stop him from finding about things quickly. Some isolation and what could be considered the shit flung onto him. I remember him saying he had sex with a girl we knew in the 4th grade. I don't think I understood any of what it meant in a real way. Actually, it was around the time we started learning sex ed. He talked about marijuana, and I didn't really know what it was. Seemingly against the grain, he would ride ATVs. Heard one time he and a bunch of kids trashed a house. Someone rolled by later in a car and a family was crying out in front of the lawn. This behavior wasn't good, and I remember some of his friends, even the ones who did it, they told me that it really was not right. I wonder what provoked someone to do a random act like that without any real gain on their part. People were bored, though, where I grew up, so mischievous behavior was kind of a given. He was supposed to ride a lawnmower that was kick-ass into the gymnasium during our graduation in 8th grade. I was so excited to see him do it, but he didn't. I imagined it would have been like a King of the Hill thing. He was kind of like Hank Hill on Everclear. Speaking of alcohol, he had sort of a rampant alcoholism during our early to mid-teens. One time I saw him in the hallway and I knew something was up with him. Later on, I heard his Gatorade bottle had vodka in it. Our freshman year, I guess he got super drunk and was driving. He started chugging vodka out of a bottle while he was speeding. The cops started on him and a chase began. The idea of chugging vodka while cops chase behind you on the highway seems Nietzschean. Like, Nietzsche would have definitely done it, I think. The Ubermensch is just a goddamn drunk driver. He, blew through a toll booth. Then he hit a house and was hospitalized and stuff. 2 years later, or maybe even my senior year, he crashed again. He and another person got drunk and started driving around. They hit a tree or something, and he went through the windshield and went 30 feet. He was in a coma, and the other guy was hurt. For a long time, all of us who knew him for the 1st grade onward wondered about him. Eventually, I saw him, and he had a hole in his throat. I asked him how he was, and he said he was wicked good for the most part. I haven't seen him in years. I bet he's still rolling in mud, though, true to form. People like these, are they the realist? They just do. Nike said, just do it. If that is it, what is I? Untitled. Is there some sort of validity in apathy and nihilism? It generally seems okay if that's what you want. They used to say a long time ago that the hip or whatever, reefer madness, was just psychopathy. Existential heroes now turn trendsetter. I mean, they always set the bar, but how much or how low? I have a band, I make this, I make that, but when you ask them on a computer about something serious, the hip may respond LOL and some sort of apathy, dodge. Why is this? Do the only things that matter lie within what is tangible to the person themselves? I am not political, I hate the government, I am not religious, I hate all religions. That sort of behavior, this unnecessary apathy about things that are real, are shaded and put into a crevice that one stands over, not unlike the cliff that is near a beautiful vast outlook, yet underneath the cliff is a small incline, and at the top are all burning dead and suffering. But the new so-and-so and the next who, what, where is out. You put on the record, and it isn't even, and it's kicking. Okay. Here's a short piece of prose. This will be the last thing. Dad, something is wrong with her. My dad looked over at me. He looked annoyed. What is wrong with her? What do you mean? He said. I stammered for a second. I could feel a watery glisten in my eye. Imagine what the glistening in my eye looked like in the morning sun. He asked me again. This time he sounded more annoyed. She is laying under the coop, I said. Chickens lay under the coop all the time. It just keeps them out of the wind, he said. No, Dad. Her eyes are closed and her head is twitching, I replied. Dad came back around the bend from the garage. The coop was next to the garage. Yeah, she looks very sick. It's starting to feel cold. I don't think she will make it, he said. I don't want her to die, I said. I started feeling the water again. Only time will tell. I don't want her to die again either, he said. I looked at my dad and he looked back at me. Walking around the corner, I didn't even want to see her. I listened to the sound of my boots under the dirt. Leaning down, I looked under and she was still there. Her head was still cocking to the side and one eye open looking at me. If I couldn't help any person in this world and bodies burned every day, then I didn't want her to either. She was too pure. She never hurt anyone. I pet her lightly, telling her softly that everything will be okay and to hang in there. It had been 2 days and she wouldn't eat. I'd take extra scraps of bread and leave them under the coop. At night, when all the other chickens went in the coop, she stayed there. I would go out at night with a flashlight and pet her. One night, I woke up early and went downstairs. I started to cry and begged her not to die. I wanted to help her live. My dad told me in the kitchen. He told me she was starting to cock her neck upside down. I asked him if we could take her to the vet. Tears started running down my father's face. I knew what had happened, but also didn't know. What happened, Dad? I said. I had to put her out of her misery, he said. I had to just grab her and snap her neck a little, he said. I breathed in and I could feel the spirit of the death that I had failed, only wanting her to live, to help someone, and it didn't happen. I started to cry and went outside. I looked under the coop. The food was still there. The water dish was still there. I scooted under the coop and knew this was a place of death. It wasn't just that, though. It was a place where I at least tried. I cried for a while under the coop, and my father yelled my name. I just wanted to say that I had a really good time this semester, and that a lot of the people in the class had a lot of cool content to put out there, and I really liked the instructor, and I just had a really good time. So, thanks. See ya.